Hey, people. I was watching this last one that the SciShow had posted, and he says Homo neanderthalinis. He says the Homo in there means man. And so that got me thinking. Because they say that the word homosexual, comes from the Greek, and the homos means the same sexual. And they say it's not kin to the Latin homo, which means man. And that looked like a candidate of language change there, because the Latin is closest to the Greek. And so, maybe homosexual is sex with a man, whether you're a woman or a man. And possibly the church had twisted this around because they didn't want people to understand. But it had me look into this word sapiens, to try to crack this, the same. And sapiens, is wise. Sapiens, the serpent, the wise. Sapient, having great wisdom from Old French, from Latin sapiens or sapient, to taste, to be wise. And you see in that book of Amos Pictus, when they're on the first page, when they're interpreting Latin to English, they use that word there for wise. So I thought to take a look back at Genesis 3 in the Latin, where it talks about the wise serpent, and in the Greek to look at that word for the wise serpent, and in the Hebrew the word for the wise serpent. So I'm going to start here with this last word in the Greek, and it's pretty much the easiest word to read. You see here, this is Parade. It's a parade, a public procession, especially one celebrating a special day or event, including marching bands and floats. Floats, that's what a boat does. And so that's what this said, is the parade, and then is, is, and then of, O-V. In the ancient picture language, the O was the I and the V meant connected, to see connected. The parade is see connected. The parade is of. What it's connected is what it's of. And then this word here is Zulu. X-U-L-O-U, Zulu, Z-U-L-O-U. We always have the parade of Zulu every Mardi Gras in New Orleans. And some will say that Zulu means heaven. But heaven's just another word for the sky. Zulu means sky. And then this word, T-O-U, and the little symbol above the U here means to go back and read the O again. And it's, to as in to connect, and then the O to see. And the tree to connect, to see. The parade is of. And you can see the little accent mark here telling you that it's not paradise, but it's the parade and then is of. And so this is what they're going to say it means, the tree of paradise. But it's actually the heavens, the sky, to see the parade is of. It's talking about this ancient parade. You see all the boats in the float, and the waters of the heavens, and Rahu and Ketu at the two ends, where the moon and the sun get swallowed up during an eclipse. But that's what this is all about. It's all parades of the heavens. They're riding in the floats. You can see it's all planets riding in the floats, parading in the heavens. So the beginning of this is more difficult to read because it's got some extra marks in here. And it can't be read here because they leave these marks out. But this is what they interpret. But the serpent was the most skilled of all the wild beasts of the ones. Is Odiophis on Phronemotatus, Pantonton, Therion, ton. And it just can't be read there. But this mark here, it means two O's, and it just reads O. O. And this is D, D-E. And this mark here means to read this word backwards first. And so it's read Desi, D-E-S-I, Desi. and then pho, Q-O, P-H-O, and then P-H-I-S, Phophis, and Desi-Phophis. And so where they get the serpent out of there, Desi, D-E-S-I, it's just a word that's describe the people, the cultures, the products of the Indian subcontinent. And where they're getting this serpent at is Opophis. And you can see the different spellings in the Greek here of P-O-Q-I-S, Apophis. But even older than that, Coptic, it was Q-O-Q, Phophis. And he was the opponent of light and matte, truth and order. Appears in art as the giant serpent, and you can see he's got going up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 S's, and 6 more S's up and down. And you can see the shading on his back. It's on the outside, and then it's on the inside. And I believe this is representing the 12-year orbit of Jupiter. And he appears in art as the giant serpent. And Ra was the bringer of light and upholder of Mot. And Apep was viewed as the greatest enemy of Ra. Thus was given the title Enemy of Ra, Lord of Chaos, the evil dragon. And he was 16 yards long, 48 feet, with a head made of flint. And he was born from Ra's umbilical cord. And his movements were the cause of earthquakes. And his battles with Set caused the thunderstorms. And he lives in the Zulu. They say Zulu is the tree, but it's the branches of the heavens what it means. And Opophis threatened the underworld and was a symbol of evil. So in the Hindu temples, the snakes represent rebirth, death, and mortality. And they're worshipped to gain wealth, fame, and knowledge. So, Desi, Opophis, and then it reads backwards and forward here again. So it's N-H, and then this line up top here, the little wave is telling you to grab the letter that was before the H, so it's N-H-N-N, and it's non, and then the phronimotados. And so Matados, they'll give that the Lyest, like L-Y-E-S. And so they'll say, this is wise, and then Lyest. But, a crony, your cronies are your friends, your cronies. And they'll stick to this. They try to say the phronimos is wise, sensible, prudent, intelligent. But, chronos is time. They say it's associated with the same word for chronimoteros and mindful. And mindful is thoughtful, friendly, from friend, from thoughtful. You can see it in this word here, the phronio. Think, judge, mind, observe, care for, friendly. Concern, feel, have attitude, live in harmony. Heart, mind, and thought. A crony is your close friend, coming from chronos, to time, long-lasting, stick with you. And so, Desi of Apophis, non-phronimatados, is not the friendliest, or not the wisest. And we know he was wise, so most libel means friendly, and he was not the friendliest, not the chronimotados. Panton, Totten, Therion, Teuton, Iphipithis, Gags, none in the shy of the poison. The Panton, Totten, T-O, and the mark says read the T again, T-O-T, and Totten. The Panton, Totten, Theory on the T-H-R, T-H-E-R-Y-O-N, the Therion, I-O-N. So a panton is a Malaysian haiku. Malaysian inhabitants of Indonesia. And if you just Google the panton, you'll see this next word comes up too. What does epithet mean in the Bible? It's a descriptive term accompanying or occurring in a place of a name. Indicates the qualities of a character, usually a hero or a god. Epithet coming from epi, upon, and the tithanea, to place. And I talked about that in the past several movies. I think it was in this one, about how the ancient names, they would have a place, and the place wasn't a place on earth, but it was a place in the heavens. And the name is where the moon sits. The name is where the planet sits. And so it gives a personification of a god. And so, O Desi Fophis, O Desi Apophis, the O Indian serpent, none the friendliest, none the chronomatatos. Panton, the haiku, taughten, therion, taughten if, if, epi, thts, epithets, gags. Gags is a mouthful. None, Nonn, none in, none, N-O-N, and then N-N, none in, N-O-N-N-N, 3 N's after the O. None in the the shy of, S-H-Y-O-F, or S-H-Y-O-P. None in the shy of the poison. And the poison is the poetry. This is the word in the beginning when it says, and created, with the word, with the poetry. And if you look here, they changed that word. They took the N out to make it made, but yeah, it's the word in the beginning for, and God created is what it means. Created with the word, the poetry. And so he's none in the shy of the poison, the P-O, per orally, it's a medical term, meaning by the mouth of the poi, the P-O, itches in. And itches in is a word that means to think about it. When you're making up a story, you're itching your chin, and it helps free your brain cells to make up a story. They get clogged up. If you're just recalling something, you can spit it out. But if you're making it up, you start itching on your chin. The poison, the poi, the mouth itches in. The poison, the potion, the poetry. The carry as, K-U-R-Y-O-S. That's the one they say is Lord. And the one that carry as O. O, the O's. O, the O's. The O's are the gods that make the O's. All the planets that circle around. Then this key is always opposite of a vav in the Hebrew. And it's this vav here it's talking about. You just replace it with a vav. You see it here, and said is what they say it means. And he said, coming after the period. You see the period here, this and this line. And so you just replace it with a vav. So it's a W-N, when. Connect cycle is when. When the pipe it Pano. It's the P-I, and then it turns around here now, and this is telling you grab that last letter, so it's P-I-P-P-E-N. When the Pipino si Fophis. The Pipino si Fophis. Pipino, they say it means he adds. And it's coming from, if they just reading this here, they're reading this as hyphen is where that word comes from. And so when you see the hyphen, yeah, you double that word up. You add a O here, or you add an IPN to it. And when the piping no. And so the word hyphen is coming from a misreading of the piping no that means to add. And this is going to give us a clue on that word homos. When the piping o C-S-I-C Fophis, the serpent. And then T-H-T-T, and this mark has you read it backwards, so it's T-H-T-T, and then back here again, H. That tug when a key, that tug, T-H-G, the tug when a key, when here, T-I-T, tie it. And this is tie it, this symbol of the knot of Isis, and that represents Venus, and especially as the fixed star Sirius in the constellation Canis Major. You know, that's the brightest star in the sky, and that's the eye of the dog. You know, that's here. You know, the eye of Cyrus was Isis. You know, when the pipe in O C Fophis, that tugging a key, tugging here, you know, the gyna key, and tugging here, the tie it, a tie, in the pipe in O, the O's, the planets, of a much faggot. And so this is the word they say is eat, but it's only used about 3 times. There's a bunch of other words usually used, but it's, you know, the jet. Jest is to eat, you know, ingest, but this is fagest. You know, fag is to smoke, you know, to suck, or to fadget in the butt. A popo, backwards and forwards, O-P-A-P-O, a popo, and that's away. You know, a po is away, a faggot, a popo, pantos. And so pantos, you know, that's where your word pantry comes from, pantry and panty, and it was the officer in charge of the pantry of feeding the poor. And then this Zulu, you know, they say is the tree, and it's the sky, but the Zu means to follow, and Lu is the people. Follow the people to see the parade is of. So after reading this in the Latin, in the Greek, and in the Hebrew, I'm still not exactly sure, because, you know, they got this mixed up, the symbols. And I believe the 2 is right. And here they got the wisdom mixed up here on this side. But I do know it's talking about one of the top 3 here. And even looking in this one, it has all the extra information. It's still hard to tell. But best chances are it's here. And this is represented by the 12 letters. And this is the one that gives the word. This is the one that gives the word, where the sun's sitting in the 12 months and the 12 houses, you know, the sphere of the zodiac. And you can't trust all this information, whether people were trying to put out good information or not. You know, they've been misled throughout the years. But the colors in this one makes me want to believe it's here, and so possibly they just got the colors mixed up. So I'm going to read this one more time, and then I'm going to show y'all the difference between homos and homos. Oh, Desi, oh, the Indian Fophis, the serpent, none of the phronimatados, not the friendliest. The Panton, the haiku, totin', you know, carrying or tautin', you know, tautin', tootin' or totin', you know, rootin' tootin', and I'm a rootin' tootin' cowboy and I'm totin' my pistol. And it's not just me. If you look at their interpretations, you know, they give the same word here different meanings, the or of the ones. And I'm sure it's due to me missing an even longer word where it blends in. But it's O de Ophis, not the Phronematodos. The haiku totem Therion, carrying his theory in a poem. And rhymes are magic. You've seen it in the OJ case. The glove didn't fit, so they must have quit. And it has to be true because it rhymes. And then the poem totem theory on tootin', totin', totin', and then if epithys of the gods. Gog, GHG, Gog and Magog. Gog is to lead, and Magog is those that are led easily. The Gogs in none in the shy. None in the shy. Ain't shy to put a hook in your nose and lead you around. None in the shy of the poison, the potion, the creation with the word. The Karyos, the Lord of the O's, Lord of the planets, the O's, Lord of the circles. When the pipe in O, when the hyphen, when to add, O see Fophis, O see the serpent, that tug when a key, the tug when here, T-ite. And this looks like one of the names of Teodi, of Thoth, if they didn't know to read this backwards, which is most everybody. But the tie to tie, in, E-N, in the piping, in the filling C, the O's. And then, and this just giving you two U's here, O-U-U, of whom much. Of whom much faggot of O-F, of oppose, of away from, of oppose. The Pantos, the Pantos, the pantheon, all the gods, in the Pantos. But many words associated with that, the pantry, and the women were coming to get fed, and he was getting in all of them's panties. That's where all those words come from. The Pantos, the Zulon, the lead the people, Zulon, Zu to lead, Lu the people, or the sky to a parade is of, the sky to a parade is of. So real good chances, or even best chances, are when this N doubles up, this is read backwards, N-H, that says read the N again. And so N, and then back this way is N. And best chances are when that N doubles up that it turns into an M. And that's why everybody else's symbol for M was the Egyptian N, but still means the same thing as M, the water. And that would shift the meaning of these two words, as in Nem, and this word here would be Nam, which would be good. And so that would change it to the good friendly Matados, the friendliest. And as a Nam, is Naga, this black serpent. And so all this friendliest and this faggot, when they talked about all the ancient stories of the gods, they queered up, because it was about planets, planets and places. And they all had their masculine and feminine qualities. And you can't stop two masculine planets from passing each other in a masculine house, and it's just going to be yay when you read about that story. So the difference between homos and homos being men and the same is pretty easy to see now. There's a little mark above here, and so it's SOM, some men, some homos. And so without the mark, it's just the homos, the men. And with the mark, you read it backwards. Some homos. And so Mistress over here at the Urban Dictionary defines some as a really sensitive person who overthinks every little detail of life. A friend who can be trusted. who's ferociously emotional, caring, generous, sweet, simple, and in one word, someone who is not understood easily. A rare find that some homos, some men, really sensitive and sweet and ferociously emotional.
Don't forget, hooty hoot, hooty hoot. I won't forget.
Alright, I'm gonna cut this off here. Good day.